Hey BookTube, it's Charlie from Reader Turned Writer, and today I am doing a massive book haul. I have never done this big of a book haul before. I keep track of how many books I buy each month, and it averages, this year I've gotten between 2 and 7 books per month, and 7 is the highest. And this month I bought 33 books, kind of on accident. What happened was I started off the month and I just bought a couple of books like I normally do, new from Amazon, and then I had some cash left over. We pull out cash every month for different things, and I had a little bit of cash left over, so I went to our local thrift shop and bought some books there. And then I wasn't going to buy any more books for the month until next month, but I got $20 for Mother's Day, and as kind of a Mother's Day gift from my mother-in-law, and I decided that I would of course spend it on books, and I was trying to decide which book, or maybe if I could buy 2 $10 ones or something. And then I remembered that I had saved thriftbooks.com, the website, and I had wanted to check it out, and so I went and I was looking at it, and I ended up getting 5 books, I think it was 5 books instead of just the one, for $20, and so I was really excited, and I really liked the site, so I actually shared it with my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and Thrift Books has like if you share it and they use it within so many days that you get a 20% off. And so I got the 20% off because they both actually went and used it and bought a whole bunch of books, which was really fun because then we're all talking about the books that we bought. So then I had 20% off, so then I went and bought like a whole bunch more off of this website. And then I wasn't going to buy any more books, but then my mother-in-law texted me and told me there's an author that we both really like, Susan Evans McLeod, and I only had one book by her that I actually bought this month. And my mother-in-law owns most of her books, and she just texted me and told me that our local thrift shop had a whole bunch of them in really good condition. So I went there and I bought 9 of the Susan Evans McLeod books, and I found 7 others to buy. And so then I ended up with 33 books, which was just insane to me. My husband thinks I'm absolutely crazy. I cannot buy that many books again next month, even with thriftbooks.com and everything. But so I'll leave thriftbooks.com down in the description. I'm not like affiliated or anything, but if you want to check them out, I've been really happy with them, and I'll kind of tell you my experience as I do my haul with them. But I've been really happy with the quality and with their customer service as well. So first I'll just start with the 2 new ones that I got. I did buy Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I've been trying to build up my Brandon Sanderson collection, and so I've wanted to get at least 1 book of his each month. So this is the one that I got this month. I also bought The Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. I follow her podcast. She has the podcast, the Read Aloud Revival, and I really like everything that she does because I love everything about reading aloud to your kids. And this is kind of a new release. I think it came out in March, and I've been wanting to read it since it came out, and so I finally decided to buy it because I knew I might as well buy the hardcover, or the hard copy. They don't have a hardcover, because I knew that I would want to own it, so instead of spending money on the ebook. And I really loved it, so I definitely recommend it. And then I'll show you my Thrift Books books that I got. So when I was buying on Thrift Books, they do have some new, but then they have like new, very good, good, and acceptable conditions that you can buy from. I only bought from very like new or very good. I didn't buy any good or acceptable, and most of them the condition I was really happy with. So one that I bought was Ever by Gail Carson Levine. I want to read more books by Gail Carson Levine because I really like her as an author, and she tends to do fairy tale princess type retelling books, which I enjoy, and I've never read Ever, and I've heard it's a really good one. So I bought that one, and its condition is really good. I also was trying to finish up my collection, my series of Unfortunate Events books. One time I bought some of the books from eBay, but I didn't have all of them. So I bought number 8, 6, and 10. And 8 and 6 were in really good condition. Number 10 was supposed to be in like new condition, and you can see it's actually pretty battered and not in good condition at all. So I emailed them and I told them that, and so they're sending me a new copy of it free of charge or anything, and I don't need to send this back or anything. I'm just going to donate it to our local thrift shop. And so I was really happy with how they handled that, and I was really glad that they were able to, I guess, make me happy as well. So now I'm just missing 13 of that series, the very last book. They didn't have, on thriftbooks.com, they didn't have the 13th one except for in good or acceptable, and I didn't want to chance it. And then I got The 13th Princess by Diane Zahler, and I did get this in very good condition, and it is a library copy, but it's not a bad copy still, and if I really like it, I might end up buying like a brand new copy of it eventually, but I'm just happy to have it because I really want to read it. Kaylee at Books for MK, she talks about this book and recommends it a lot, and it's a fairy tale retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, but with a 13th princess, and so I'm really excited to get to it. I also bought I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. I haven't read this one yet, but I love the synopsis. It's about a sociopath who is helping the police to catch a sociopath murderer, but because he can get inside the mind of the murderer, of the serial killer. He can get in the mind of the serial killer because he thinks alike, but then he's also fighting against going down the path of becoming a serial killer because he's like in the mind of the murderer and everything. So it's a really interesting concept. My husband and I both want to read it, and so I went ahead and bought it because it was super cheap. And it actually is in really good condition as well. I also bought Runaway by Wendelin van Draanen. I haven't read this one either. It's actually unusual for me to buy so many books that I haven't read before, but because they're so inexpensive, like I think most of these were around $3 or $4 for the hardcover, I felt like that was a very inexpensive way to buy books. It's basically like buying an ebook, and so I was totally fine buying books that I haven't read before because if I don't like them, I won't feel bad donating them. And I want to read more by Wendelin van Draanen. She wrote Flipped, which I really loved, and I've also read something about Serial Kisser, and it was kind of just a funny contemporary that I read by her that I really liked, and so I'm excited to read Runaway by her. I also bought Inkdeath by Cornelia Funke, and I have read Inkheart by her, but I haven't read the rest of the trilogy, and so I wanted to get the rest of the trilogy so I could read it, but I think I accidentally bought the last book because this says the stunning conclusion to the trilogy, so I'm going to have to buy the second book before I can actually read this one, which is probably okay because this one was way big. It surprised me how big it was. It was like, great. Then I bought Flipped by Wendelin van Draanen. This was supposed to be in like new condition, and I was actually a little bit disappointed with this book, the quality of it, just because the cover just looks really dirty and kind of bent on the edges. The pages were also bookmarked, but it's not bad enough condition that I would say anything, because if I'd bought it in very good condition and gotten it like this, I would have been okay with it. So I'll just probably buy this one new eventually and be okay with just owning this copy for now because I really like this book. That's about The Book of 1,000 Days by Shannon Hale. It's my favorite Shannon Hale book. It is an older edition of the book, which I knew when I bought it, but it is in really good condition and I was actually really happy to have it. I also bought The Elite by Kierra. I have read the Selection series. I haven't read the two that like are follow-up books to the series, but I have read the trilogy. And I did want to buy the Selection as well, but they didn't really have it on thrift books, or it was too expensive. I can't remember if they didn't have it in very like new or very good condition, or if it was just a more expensive one, but I do want to eventually buy the Selection as well. I do have the one, and so now I have the last two of the series and I just have to buy the first one. I also bought The Smile by Donna Napoli, and this is an historical fiction. It's about Leonardo da Vinci when he painted the Mona Lisa. This is about the lady that he painted the Mona Lisa about. And I remember reading it in high school and absolutely loving it and bawling at the end. So I actually want to reread it and see what I think of it now, because I actually can't remember it very well, and just see if I like it as much as I did then. I also bought Honey for a Child's Heart by Gladys Hunt. And this is a non-fiction book about reading aloud to your children, and it's one that I've just wanted to have in my library for a while. Since it was so inexpensive, I figured why not. And the last one I got from thriftbooks.com is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And I did get this in very good condition. It is in good condition, but there's no dust jacket, which I was kind of disappointed about. If I end up loving it, I will probably buy another copy that actually has a dust jacket in it, but I am really excited to read this because this is one I've been hearing about ever since I joined BookTube, and I'm still hearing about it, and so I really, really want to read it. Now I'll move on to the books that I got at our thrift shop. So first I just got this paperback of Kidnap Kids by Todd Strasser, and it's one that I was actually thinking about just the other day, so it was funny that I saw it at DI. It's about these kids whose parents are basically workaholic lawyers, and so they kidnap their parents, but then there's like a twist in the story that makes like real danger and stuff, and it's just kind of a fun, probably middle grade book, I'd say. And so when I saw it, I just decided to grab it because I remember reading it when I was growing up, and it's probably still at my mom's house, that copy, but I wanted a copy as well so my kids can read it if they want. I also got the 10 Issues Among the Nephites by Chris Heimerdinger, and this is one, because I'm LDS, we believe in the Bible, but we also believe in the Book of Mormon, and this is like a Book of Mormon historical fiction. Like, this kid goes back to the time of the Book of Mormon, basically. And it's a whole series, and I have a couple of the series, but I didn't have the first one, so when I saw it, I grabbed it. I also got Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech, and this is one that I saw Leslie at Leslie Reads Books, maybe? I can't remember her channel name right off the top of my head for some reason. But in middle grade March, she read this one and absolutely loved it and raved about it, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. So when I saw it and in like basically brand new condition for $2, I had to grab it, and so I'm really excited to read this book. I also decided to get a Mary Higgins Clark book. I see Mary Higgins Clark books all the time at DI, and I have read one, I think her very first book that she wrote, All Around the Town, but this one's called Daddy's Little Girl, and I decided to read another one of her books because this one is actually in really good condition and it sounded interesting, and figured why not. I also saw 2 books there by Gerald Lund. He is one of my favorite authors. I saw Leverage Point, which I actually have not read yet, and so I'm excited to read that. And these were also in pretty good condition and also only $2, and so yeah, I was excited for that. The other one by Gerald Lund was The Freedom Factor, and it was actually not my favorite novel that I've ever read by him, but it was still good, so I figured I'd grab it. I also saw Charlie in hardcover by Jack Wayland, and this is actually, my mom went to the play and saw Charlie and liked how it was spelled, and that's where I get my name, and so it's kind of my namesake. I love the book and the movie. I've never seen the play, but I love the book and the movie, and so I was really excited to see it because it's one of the Jack Wayland books that I don't own. I also grabbed Pearls and Peril by Lynn Gardner, and this is part of the Emeralds and Espionage series, and it's about an LDS spy, basically. I loved this series as a teenager, and I definitely want to own all of them, and so I grabbed it when I saw it. I also picked up The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and I've actually talked about this book already in some of my videos because I'm doing it for the TBR readathon. This is one of the books that I'm reading, but I was just excited to read it, and so, because I've never read it, even though I've read Twilight, and yeah, so I picked this up. My husband's read it now. He hadn't read it before. It's kind of a girly book, but he read it anyways, and now he wants to read Twilight, maybe, we'll see. But yeah, it was actually in really good condition, which is why I decided to buy it. Then I also bought Nicole by Jack Wayland. Again, it's another Jack Wayland book that I just want to collect all the Jack Wayland books, so if I ever see any at DI that I don't have yet, then I usually grab it and add it to my collection. And then finally, I got a whole bunch of Susan Evans McLeod books. So the first one I got is A Face in the Shadows, and it's the only one that I bought that I read by her, but I really, really liked it. It's about a girl who lived in Paris during World War II as a little girl, and I think her dad died, maybe, I can't remember. When she got older and grew up, she ended up going to BYU, and one of her professors was German, and it's a historical fiction, and it's so, so well done. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. And I actually want to reread it, and I was really happy to find it at DI in such good condition. Then I'll just name off the rest because I don't know anything about them except for that they are by Susan Evans McLeod. So, The Heart That Truly Loves, My Enemy, My Love, Amelia's Daughter, By All We Hold Dear, Where the Heart Leads, and I think this one is part of a duology, and then this is the second one, The Heart and the Will. That's what my mother-in-law was saying. First Love, Last Love, Lady of Mystery, and A Vow to Keep. So there you have it, my haul. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Thanks for watching my giant book haul video. I will see you in the next one.